What's up, everyone? Jason Gelbo here with Matt Vaselli, taking a look at some stacking options for today's slate. Just 5 games, a smaller Saturday night slate, but it has cores. I mean, we'll break that down. And then outside of that, I mean, it's more like there's decent enough pitching to kind of keep me off of these stacks just because they're also in bad ballparks.
Yeah, I mean, seems like, we like cores, and besides that, I mean, we have Houston, but I mean, most teams, it's just really small slate, and like you said, the pitchers aren't that bad, so it's kind of hard to stack against them.
Yeah, so I mean, breaking down cores real quick, Adam Wainwright versus Kyle Freeland. Kyle Freeland's, I mean, he's not awful. I mean, a decent ground ball rate, but I mean, in cores, I could definitely see a couple of these right-handed bats to get to him. The problem is, I mean, some of them are struggling. I mean, Piscotty, I don't even know if he's going to be in the lineup or not.
Yeah, he's day to day.
Yeah, so I mean, we might get a couple. I think Tommy Pham will probably come into that lineup and play, which I don't mind him for a value.
Yeah, I like Pham. I like Diaz. I still like Carpenter against a lefty because I don't feel like people are going to play him. I know it's cores, but if you look at the other first base options with Rizzo and Reynolds and Belt, Carpenter is in cores, but just people will go off with the lefty, and people are going to be on the Rockies because of what they did last night.
Yeah, I mean, and even though Fowler's struggling, I always love Fowler from the right side.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, he hits for better average over there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I mean, 3,600 on FanDuel, it's a nice price tag on him. I mean, he's still expensive on DraftKings, but it's not an expensive stack on FanDuel. I don't feel like, especially if you can mix in maybe a Grichuk or, as you said, Diaz, even a Molina, I don't hate.
Yeah, I actually think St. Louis is pretty sneaky. Like I said, it sounds weird because they're in cores, but I just feel like everybody's gonna be all over the Rockies tonight.
What are the odds Wainwright homers?
Wainwright homers? Oh man, if the odds are that I stack St. Louis, they score 2 runs on a 2-run home run from Wainwright. That's probably what the odds are.
I mean, it just seems like the spot. I mean, against a lefty, like Wainwright can swing the bat.
I know it's what it's gonna happen now that you said it. You know that, right? It's gonna happen. But no, for real though. I mean, he can hit, but I hope he gets on base. I mean, that'll obviously help my St. Louis stacks. He's not getting an automatic out like he probably would in other parks.
Yeah, and it puts Fowler, it puts whoever's hitting second into a good RBI situation.
It just you never know what's going to happen with that lineup. I mean, Diaz bats second one time, then he bats seventh. Piscotty bats second, then he bats sixth. Like you're gonna have to wait for that lineup. I mean, Fowler will lead off, and Pham will probably bat second. You never know, I guess, with Carpenter at 3, but the whole thing's kind of messed up. Molina will be in the middle there. Just kind of pick your favorite ones. Maybe you can get the cheaper version and do a game stack or something.
Yeah, and looking at, I mean, third base, both these guys are going to carry the highest ownership is Arenado and Jerko. So, I mean, Jerko's going to carry lower, but, I mean, it's tough to come off for Arenado. We can kind of go to the Rockies. Wainwright doing his usual stuff. I mean, away from home, he's awful. He's been bad against both sides of the plate this year. This is just another good spot. I mean, especially with those lefties. But, I mean, even Reynolds and Desmond, I mean, I don't even mind a GPP Trevor Story who's starting to come around a little bit.
Yeah, I think Story's in play too. I really want to find a way on DraftKings. I don't even know what 5 I want, to be honest. Like if I'm able to fit 5 in there. I mean, it sounds crazy, but I really want Arenado, Cargo, and Blackman, no doubt. Reynolds is in a good spot. Story's in a good spot. And I don't think anybody's going to pick on Desmond here, which makes it really intriguing for me.
Yeah, as crazy as it sounds, I don't even mind like a back half stack. I know the pitcher spot's there, but I mean, like Desmond Story, even a Tony Walter, I know you like throwing in catcher, like hitting him from the left side against Wainwright is certainly in play.
Yeah, I think I don't see why more people do it. I think when you 5-man on DraftKings or even 4-man on FanDuel, I think throwing in the catcher is great. It's a great way to get just creative and different. I mean, people don't do it. If you look at the Rockies, look at all those bats, who the hell is going to play Walters in their stack?
Yeah, and he's cheap. I mean, only 3.3 on DK.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, I mean, that's a good cheap exposure. He goes yard. He does way more than you expected. So,
let's move away. We'll go to Houston, going up against Wade Miley. I mean, once again, Houston has that high run total. They're going to bring a lot of right-handed bats to the plate. You look at Miley, I mean, he's kind of just been effectively wild. I mean, the ground ball rate's been decent, but still allowing a ton of hard contact. I think the homers are going to start to come around. I mean, there's going to be eventually a game where Miley just breaks.
Yeah, I actually think this is a good spot for Houston. I know they K a lot, but I really think we talked before. I really like Gaddis and Springer, my top 2 from this team. You can't go wrong without Tuve. Correa doesn't hit lefties, but if you're stacking, it's kind of hard to not have Correa. And I think Marvin Gonzalez is the wild card.
Yeah, I like Gonzalez here. I mean, remotely cheap on both sides. And once again, I think this is a game where I'm going to be using 1 through 9, basically, just depending on what that lineup looks like, because I don't mind the back half of like even Bregman, who's starting to come around a little bit. He's decent track record against lefties. It's going to be hard to use Gurriel, but I wouldn't mind it.
Yeah, on FanDuel, you're gonna have to decide if you want to go Gurriel or Gonzalez, both being first base eligible. But yeah, I think this is a great way to, get especially if you do the bottom half with Bregman and those guys, or you just pick here and there. Beltran will probably play. I think he went yard last night.
Yeah, it does.
Marisnik's been going yard. Maybe he's been crushing the ball. Maybe you can get the back half of that stack and get some more Coors bats in there with the pitcher you like.
Yeah, I mean, I'm totally not against it because if you look at the DK prices, basically everyone outside of Bregman is under 3,500 on DK.
Yeah, so I mean, I think they're in play on both sites, but I would really, I think if I can get that, I'm gonna really toy around with this, but I kind of want to see if I can get, maybe 2 Cardinal bats, 2 Colorado bats, and then maybe fill in the other 4 with Houston value and get my pitcher, maybe get something going there.
Yep, no, I'm totally with that. The other 3 games on the night, I mean, bad ballparks to stack in. We'll talk about Cubs Dodgers. You and I were kind of feeling similar about this, just because, if we are looking to really stack another game, there isn't a lot of potential. I mean, both run totals under 4 here. Dodger Stadium doesn't play that well, but the lefties are in play against these 2 right-handers.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think this is a really good spot for Seager and Grandal against Lackey. Yeah. Really good spot for them. And apparently Chase Utley's starting to hit home runs now. So we'll see what's going on there. And then, this is, Rizzo's finally starting to heat up a little bit against McCarthy. Hayward's hitting the ball. I mean, it's just a whole bunch of guys, are starting to – I'm hoping, like we talked about earlier, I'm hoping Montero cracks the lineup. That'll be a cheap catcher.
Yeah, I'm hoping because, I mean, catcher, I don't want to pay up at all. And Montero's the guy that I'm just hoping in. But when looking at this, I mean, the lineups are probably not going to shake out where you can maybe run 4 straight guys in a stack. Like, it's probably going to be one where you just have to mix and match lefties.
Yeah, I definitely think, like we talked about, we agreed. I definitely think this is, one, maybe a 2-man stack from each team at the most. It's kind of like, I want to throw in my Colorado and my St. Louis and my Houston and have those stacks separate, and then just one off it and have a couple of these guys here and there.
Yeah, I think that's how it's going to be. I mean, and as far as the other 2 games go, I mean, AT&T Park, tough place. I mean, we don't mind the lefties there for the Giants, but not a stacking situation.
No, I think we agreed that Belt's probably our favorite guy. And then I'd probably throw in either Panic or Crawford here and there, but I'm probably not going to touch Atlanta. Maybe Kemp as a one-off. That's probably about it. Yeah,
Kemp's been red hot. The more I kind of I'm looking at this Mets-Pirates game, Warren Day and PNC, Garrett Cole.
Nobody's going to play it.
Crazy high hard contact rate to lefties. Conforto, Bruce. I like that Cabrera's back in line. Walker, 2 homers yesterday. He might be a little bit popular. Dude, maybe the lefties are in play for the Mets as kind of that low-owned super contrarian stack.
I'm telling you, nobody's going to do it. Nobody's going to do it. If you want, that's probably we've talked ourselves onto our contrarian stack of the night, because absolutely nobody's going to do it. I mean, look at the other offenses. The problem with Colorado is, I don't even know how I'm going to 4-man that, because there's 8 guys I like. Yeah. St. Louis is pretty, probably around 5 guys, so you can narrow it down. I like a lot on Houston, but I mean, you look at the Mets, there's 4 to 5, but they're all lefties. Like until Cespi gets back, obviously I'm not going to take Flores unless he's against a left-handed pitcher. So right. The rest of the guys, I mean, look, Reyes is cheap too. I mean, you can fit this one in with the expensive Houston and try to go over the Coors fade, or fit them in with some of the cheaper Coors guys, and just, you're going to have to mess with it a little bit. Yeah,
Garrett Cole, 1.59 home runs per 9 to lefties this year, 38% hard contact rate, sub 20% strikeout rate. I mean, he is better off at home, which, as you expect with these Pirates pitchers, but the hard contact's still there, and that's still eye-popping for me.
Yeah, Garrett Cole's trash. That's all I got to say. I think Garrett Cole's horrible. So I'm every single time. I don't care who it is. I'll stack against him. I really wasn't even looking at it, but just looking at the possibilities of ownership, I think I'll have a Mets stack out there.
Yeah, so I mean, kind of recap here. Core is obviously your top stacks on both sides. You move to Houston, and then I mean, as far as a true stack, I think the Mets come in as that kind of contrarian third.
Yep, and like you said, one or two one-offs from the Atlanta game, and then one or two one-offs from the
Dodgers,
Chicago,
yeah.
yeah, the Chicago and Dodgers. I just don't. The one team we're not talking about, and I mean, I'm probably not going to play them, but you never know. Any night can be Baltimore's night.
It could. I mean, and the thing is, Keiko coming off that injury, the neck thing. I mean, obviously, if he was 100% healthy, it wouldn't even be worth a mention. The one thing is, Houston's bullpen is so good.
I know. It's shut down when they bring in Davinsky, and they just have all those guys. And Giles is finally starting to, get back to normal here. He was struggling at the beginning of the year. They have a bunch of guys that just don't give up. They don't give up runs. They don't give up hits. Like you can't even get on base. So you can't even score runs. So you can't get to that starter. Your stack's done.
Yeah, I mean, even if Keiko goes 5 innings, like it's just like that pen. I just don't want to fire against him for 4 innings.
Yeah, I used to be like that against the Yankees last year, especially if Pineda or Tanaka had a good start. Like you knew after that when they had Betances, Miller, Chapman, you're done. Like
yeah.
And they don't have those name guys, but I just feel like as a unit, they're very strong. And, this is just not the night to go to Baltimore. But if you want to talk about an under-owned stack, Baltimore is going to be that one.
And their prices are down because Keiko's on the hill.
Right. So
on DK at least.
I just don't think I'll go there.
No, I think if we're going contrarian, it's with the Mets.
Yep. I like the Mets.
So let's wrap things up here. You can head over to DaveFantasyCafe.com, check out great tools and content.